Well, friends, the goddess is not a betting woman, and for good reason. Recently, she decided to take a chance against this and made a bet with Captain Hooch, and she lost. Told you she wasn't a betting woman for good reasons. Anyway, the terms of the bet was she had to cook for him and his roommate, the notorious fat bastard. However, sourcing ingredients from the bachelors, she managed to turn this lost bet into a Latin feast, chorizo and Spanish rice.
First, we're going to prep the veg. Start by taking your pepper and capping it at both ends. Then, remove the ribs, and the core will just drop out. Then take the wall, cut it into a julienne, also known as thin strips. Stack the julienne peppers together and cut into a dice, or brunoise. Clean your board between the veg so you get clean flavors. For the onion, cut off the top and the root. If there's onion paper clinging to it, just scrape it down like I did. Then cut the onion in half. Then you're going to carefully cut a grid pattern into the onion, so when you slice it, it'll provide you a nice dice. For the bacon, I split about 6 rashers of bacon in half, used only one half of it, cut it into lardons or matchsticks, and that's going to go into the pan first to be crisped up and rendered. I also skinned a link of chorizo, which will also be browned after the bacon is rendered. Add the bacon to the pan with a little bit of olive oil and crisp, then remove before adding the chorizo. Brown up the chorizo with the olive oil and bacon fat, and the fat that renders out of the chorizo should turn into a nice vibrant orange. Once the chorizo is browned and broken up thoroughly, you're going to add your onions. Now, we used one very large sweet onion. You feel free to use any type of onion you want. I find sweet works best. Now you're going to sweat the onions in the oil, and you're also going to salt at this point because the salt will help draw the moisture out of the onions and sweat them out. Also, this is your first stage of seasoning. Once you've got your onions thoroughly coated with the fat and mixed in with the chorizo, cover and allow to sweat for 3 to 5 minutes. After your onions have sweated, you're going to add your bell peppers. Here we have 2 good-sized bell peppers that have been diced. If you wish, you can substitute other peppers such as serranos, poblanos, habaneros, or jalapenos. We are now doing our second stage of seasoning. We are adding 2 teaspoons of cumin. This is to add smokiness. We are also adding what I call 1 heaping tablespoon of garlic. If you want an exact measure, it's more like 1.5 tablespoons. You can use 4 to 5 cloves of whole garlic. You could use garlic powder or granulated garlic, but I do not recommend them as they scorch way too easily. We also added approximately 1 tablespoon of parsley. This is to aid in digestion and help stop halitosis. Thyme could also be added at this point because it does add additional punch to the flavor of the dish. Next, we add 1 whole can of tomato paste. This is to deepen the color and give more body to the sauce. You're going to mix this in thoroughly before adding your rice and cooking liquid. Next, we add our rice. We are using a long grain white rice, which requires a 2-to-1 ratio for your cooking liquid, so you will have to measure. In this case, a 1-pound bag was 2.5 cups. Once the rice is added to the pan, giving it a good mix around with the other ingredients helps to make sure that when you do add your cooking liquid, the tomato paste completely dissolves in the liquid. Now we add our cooking liquid, starting with a 15-ounce can of tomato sauce. As you can see, the tomato sauce did not quite make 2 cups, so we used chicken stock. We did add that to the can first and swirled it around just so we could get all the tomato sauce we could out of the can. Then the box of stock provided the remaining 3 cups of liquid we needed to cook our rice with. Now, the amount of liquid added was more than enough to cook the rice and make it all nice and fluffy. But because we are going to be adding chorizo links to braise in the sauce while the rice cooks, we added the additional stock from the box just to make sure that everything had enough liquid to cook in. Now that we've added our liquid, everybody into the pool. We're adding 4 chorizo links. Obviously, with this size of a recipe, you can add more. Or we clamp a lid on this, we're going to add back in the bacon bits that we took out at the beginning. Then we will boost the heat to high. As soon as it comes to a boil, you drop it down to low or simmer, however the settings on your stove are laid out. And you let that simmer for 45 minutes or until the rice has reached its desired tenderness. 45 minutes, however, is your best ballpark figure. Uncover after 45 minutes. Make sure your rice is cooked. I'm sure it will be by this point, and enjoy.
Alright, so we got this shit plated up.
Oh, phew, that's got a good spicy smell to it. That is delicious and incredibly hot, and I just burned my mouth. That is good. That's going to be great when it cools down a little bit.
Now all that's left to do is plate up and manja.
Plate up in what?
Manja.
Manja?
Eat.
Okay, that's a word I've never heard used for eating.
Manja is kind of an Italian thing.
Ah.
Italian grandfather.
Fair enough. Italian grandfather, Polish grandmother. You've had it all.
Well, she's bi-Polish.
Bi-Polish?
She's only half Polish. I don't lock my house, I don't lock my phone.
Alright, it's got a different...
Because I have faith in humanity.
I don't!
We know.
I so wish I had my knives.
I know, my knives are rubbish. They're dollar store knives.
Alright, fuck this.
Knocking things over.
You know, I could have gotten pretty far in a game of Skyrim today if I'd stayed at the house.
Yeah, but you didn't. Hey, have you had a good day? I mean, aside from the bullshit that you had to put up that originally brought you here, it's been a good day. I mean, food and hanging out, and hell, it's actually nice to have you at my house for a change.